for love, because my wife was in the Air Force, in the United States Air Force, and she was stationed in Italy, in Aviano Air Base, so very close to Pordenone where I used to live. So we met, we got married in Italy, and then we decided to come here. I was already in computer science. So the first job I had was a very interesting job in Palo Alto. We were doing custom design engineering for different companies, so every 6 months there would be a new project, so very, very interesting. I was captured immediately because we were supposed to stay here only for 6 months. Then after 6 years, I decided to start my own company. We did a video conferencing tool, and thanks to the partnership with some other great Italians here, Pierluigi Zappacosta, Fabio Righi, we were able to do a great deal with Logitech, and our software was bundled with the golf looking like cameras that they were selling. That was a great experience, lots of end users that needed support, and so the idea for the second company came from there, where we needed to provide support. I was always passionate about expert systems since the days in school, and so we decided to create some artificial intelligence and an expert system, which is what Know-All does today. So in a nutshell, that's my professional life. In between, I had a couple of great kids. Of course, my wife is still with me. I don't know how and why, but after 30 years, but here we are. Well, when I came here, there was no internet, so it was like a completely different world. I did most of my raising of funds in 2000. So I actually got my first money, my first tranche of the $50 million I raised in May of 2000. So it was a pretty tough time because the investor expectations were still very high, but the market was crashing. So it was an interesting time. So very high expectation, but then they would, investor would give you money and expect that in 3 years they would have a return, etc. Of course, things have changed, as we all know. So now it takes longer, but the opportunities are still out there, and I've seen even tonight here some great companies with great ideas, and so I'm optimistic. I tend to be optimistic, but I'm optimistic for the future. So, I'm very connected because part of my family is still there, so we try to go twice a year. My family, my American family here loves Italy, so it's great. But I'm also connected, I had some experiences. In 2007, I come from Pordenone. I was born in Trento, but I lived quite a bit in Pordenone, and we organized Pordenone Startup. So I brought actually 3 VCs from the Silicon Valley to Pordenone, and we had a 2-day conference, and some startups there had the opportunity to present. So it was a great opportunity. And in fact, I've been following one of these companies called Eveland that does a collaboration tool. So, in my spare time, not at the scale that MindBridge does it, of course, but in my spare time, I try to help a little bit as much as I can. So it's definitely an opportunity, and some people have been successful with that. I must admit, I'm humble, I think, from this perspective, in the sense, the fact that you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good investor. So it's instinctively, I'm not there yet, but I'm keeping my mind open. Well, definitely, what I've seen here today, so MindBridge is definitely an option that they should consider because it works, it helps, it puts them in front of the right network, so that's really good. And in general, to be courageous. Especially when you're young at that age, you don't have family, what have you got to lose? Come on.